Good afternoon. This is Marcus K. Dowling, the Nashville Country Music Reporter. I'm here at Nissan Stadium, obviously a couple of hours, a couple days away from the return, I feel, of country music to its native city on the commercial side. And I'm here with the Country Music Association CEO, Sarah Trahern.
It's great to be here with you. I'm so excited for you to come to Fest for the first time.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We just talked about that. So, in regards to this, I feel like country didn't stop during the pandemic, but it did stop at this size and scope.
Yeah.
So if you could speak to being, one of the first people to really bring country back at this size and scope in the industry.
Yeah, the hardest part, well, there's so many hard parts about the pandemic, but one of the things was live music was one of the first things to shut down, and it was one of the last things to come back, particularly on a large scale. So I was so proud of all of our artists and the things they did individually with Zooms and reaching out to fans to keep the music alive. But for us to have to postpone Fest for 2 years in a row will probably be some ways the darkest chapter I've had at CMA. And to be able to bring it back now in 2022 with the lineup we have, welcoming the city of Nashville and tourists from all over the world back, it feels really good.
So I'm going to name some names and you'll get a sense of where I'm going.
Okay.
When I say Breland, Blanco Brown, Darius Rucker, Kane Brown, Tennille Arts, Carly Pierce, Ashley McBride. Country music hasn't had this much diversity at the top of its charts since 1971. That's 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you could speak to this idea that 50 years later, we've gone around the sun and we're back at another dynamic point in country music's evolution.
Yeah. One of the things that I often get asked about is kind of the ebb and flow, even from traditional to pop to traditional to pop. And I think as we look at the ebb and flow of artists, that's been about style. I think what you just named speaks to the breadth of country today being like the 70s. In the 70s, you would have a John Denver and
right.
Olivia Newton-John,
Mm-hmm.
and you would have a Loretta Lynn. You can't get more country than that.
Exactly.
And obviously Charlie Pride being a mainstay, on the charts and everything.
29 number one singles, right?
But what's so exciting today to me is the breadth of legitimate artists, and for me this year at Fest, to be able to have, I think it's almost 50% more artists of color than when we did the festival in 2019.
Yes, you do.
Because they all have music out there, and they're music that's accessible to the fans.
So if we could speak as well to the idea that what's happening here is at the forefront of where popular music is headed as well. Like I feel like that's one thing with the festival moving forward,
Yeah.
is that this is really a space that's building popular music overall
Yeah.
towards the future.
I think one of the things that has always been a reason that CMA Fest is successful is about artist discovery. And for all ends of the spectrum, particularly for those artists that are playing the fest for the first time. So you mentioned Breland. We're
Right.
going to see him in the stadium, but we're going to see him do a full set over at Riverfront.
Right.
You have somebody, which he's going to blow the fans away.
Yeah.
Then you have somebody even like Graylin James, who's playing the Spotlight stage at
Yes.
FCC. He told me this week that he went to Fest since he was 14 with his family as a fan. Now he's going to get to be on the stage. So what I get excited about is that those people who come in and experience these artists for the first time, there's a little something for everybody. Not everybody sounds the same, nor should they. That's the plus to what you were talking about, the pop culture, like the breadth of country today, musically, is very different. We have a little bit of something for everybody. We have traditionalists, and we have modernists, and we have Americana. And within the big tent of country music, I think that at Fest, someone's going to walk the footprint and find some new favorite artists that they've never known about before. And that, to me, is what makes me proud about Fest, when someone can walk away and go, oh, I didn't know about this person, but now I'm going to stream them, now I'm going to become a fan club member. That happens to me every year usually when I walk by a stage, and I know a lot of artists,
Right.
but I still usually will walk by a stage and find one or two people I've never heard before and become their new biggest fan.
Thoughts then about the fact that for 8x8 square of Lower Broadway, Nashville, Tennessee for 4 days, there's going to be this massive influx of country music talent, fan base, so on and so forth, into a city that's also experiencing dynamic growth like
Right.
it's never experienced. Thoughts about that overall, and that as a reason in itself to be in this moment and in this place for the next 4 days?
Well, you know, you look around the stadium, we have a fixed capacity here in the stadium of about 50,000 people.
Right.
We usually get tens of thousands of fans that don't come to the stadium. They may go to the free stages we have throughout the footprint. And I really encourage fans, if you don't have a 4-day ticket, still go experience Fest. And then go experience Nashville. A lot of people come into town without tickets. They just take in the experience downtown. You know, so I think, and for anybody who's coming, I'll say, I think I've already given Marcus my rules. He's got on some cool cowboy boots today. I'm not sure he's going to wear those in the footprint. We'll see.
I have a different pair.
Okay, so comfortable shoes, sunscreen, water, water.
Wicker hat, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
If you're not a person that gets like sunburned too much, a wicker hat might work.
And break in your shoes before you come here. Don't try to do
Yes.
it in the midst of it. I tried to do that one year and it was not a
That's
not
not a
good
win.
thing.
It's not a win, but yeah, definitely. Sarah, thank you so much for your time. It's always a
Anytime.
pleasure to talk to you.
I cannot wait to hear about your first time.
Oh, we'll definitely have that happen.
Okay.
This is Marcus K. Dowling, the Nashville Country Music Reporter at the Tennessean, reporting from Nissan Stadium here right before CMA Fest 2022.